Welcome to Twin Talk. This is Joy, and I'm here with my sister Angie. And today we are talking about the audiobook called Talking as Fast as I Can. And Angie and I were just discussing before we started this podcast that really, if we want to recommend this book be read because we both love the book, but unless you're familiar with Gilmore Girls, which is a series, well, I guess I don't know if it's on Netflix or where you can watch it now.
It's on Netflix.
Okay, and it's about a daughter and a mother and basically their relationship and all the quirky people in the town that they live in. What do you think about the show, Gilmore Girls?
Oh, it's really good. So it's one of those shows you see it advertised a lot and you hear people talk about it, but you actually are the person that recommended I watch it, and you were telling me you had already watched like several seasons of it, I guess, and you kind of got hooked on it, and then I got hooked on it, and even our mom, she's even watching it now. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's been around for a long time, and I read an article. I was just doing, I don't know why, I was just kind of looking up something about the Gilmore Girls one time, and it said it's they said even today it still remains one of the highest ranked TV series.
That's interesting because in the book, Lauren Graham, who the book is written by, she talks about how when Gilmore Girls first came out, they were slotted up against Friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the most popular shows of all time, and it was like a Thursday night at 8 or something. This is, before we had 3 gazillion channels, like she said, but I think it's interesting that it survived being up against Friends for so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so I guess what we're trying to say is we highly recommend the book, but you definitely want to be familiar with the show Gilmore Girls, and you need to be familiar with kind of some of the plots and the characters, or you're just not going to get the references and some of these anecdotes if you're not familiar with the show and the actors and the characters.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read the summary. So Talking as Fast as I Can, from Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and everything in between. In this collection of personal essays, the beloved star of Gilmore Girls and Parenthood reveals stories about life, love, and working as a woman in Hollywood, along with behind-the-scenes dispatches from the set of the new Gilmore Girls, where she plays the fast-talking Lorelai Gilmore once again. And the summary's a lot longer, but I just thought I'd read that first paragraph. So
I was kind of laughing because sometimes I think you and I talk fast.
Yes.
And I wonder if some of our listeners ever think that we talk fast.
Yes, I've been told that I talk really fast, but I'm like, there is no way I talk as fast as Lorelai Gilmore.
Right.
So my first thought when I first started, and once again, you got to listen to it because Lauren Graham wrote this book of personal essays, and she narrates it. And obviously, no one else is going to be able to read the essays like Lauren Graham. She does an amazing job. Here's one of my takeaways. I felt like I was listening to Lorelai.
Yes.
Is Lauren Graham and Lorelai, I mean, is that really how she is in real life? They're like the same person.
I know. So I felt like the book, I felt like they were taking it from a script or from one of the shows. I mean, it felt like she was reading from a script.
Her personality, her sense of humor, the way she talked, how fast she talked. It's
she
like
has
you're
kind of a
listening
quirky, different outlook on life
Yes.
the way she does on the show.
Yes, just super intelligent and witty. And I was like, wow. It was shocking to me because so many times, you can separate the actor from the character, but in this case, I could not separate her from Lorelai.
Okay, so I'm so glad you're talking about this because one of the reasons I wanted to read the book was I wanted to see what Lauren Graham was actually like in real life.
Yes.
Well, and then after listening to it,
she's
she's the same person.
She's Lorelai Gilmore.
And so she kept talking about how she related so much to this character. It was her favorite character she ever played. Well, I can see why, because she was playing her not even her alter ego. It's like she was playing herself.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so
and I do love the fact that she brought out how in Hollywood there's always the mom character or the girl about town character. And there's like no in between. And they'd be like, and she didn't want to be cast just as the mom or just as the girl about on town. They actually made her character, Lorelai Gilmore, much more complex. yeah, she's a mom, but she also had a life.
And she was a cool mom.
And she was a cool mom.
Yeah.
And she had a life. And she dated.
She was funny. And she was pretty.
And she was an entrepreneur. And there's so much more that you can make a mother role. And, you'd hope Hollywood would sit up and take notice. Another thing is how fast she read through the book. I'm like, we're used to hearing her talk fast because, well, one thing she said in the book was because they had some of the longest dialogues. The scripts, she had tons and tons of dialogue to memorize and to learn. And I thought it was interesting. She said it was kind of like a song. It was easy to learn because it was kind of like a song and just knowing the notes of the song. But I thought, I don't care.
That part.
Okay, well, I thought, I don't care how good the song is. I don't know that I could learn. She said up to 80 pages of script for one episode.
Did you catch the comment she made that she loved the dialogue and that she started asking for more as time went on? I could not believe
that blew my mind. I'm like, holy cow, I couldn't even memorize one page of dialogue. So that right there tells me she has an incredible memory and she's super intelligent. But she talked as fast in the book as she does in Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
And I thought, in Gilmore Girls, she has to. She says she has to talk that quickly because there's so much dialogue to get through. So I understand why she talks so, and that's part of her character. She has to talk that quickly to get through all that dialogue. But in real life, I thought, well, maybe she talks a little bit more slowly, but I don't know. When she was narrating the book, she was talking pretty quickly.
Didn't she say that the reason they had to talk so fast was because they had, like, each scene, they only had so much time to get the dialogue in?
Yes, like they might only have,
Like, okay, you're walking down the sidewalk, you have to get this conversation in before you get to Luke's Diner.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So, anyway, I love that. I felt like I was listening to Lorelai, and I feel like she and Lauren are one and the same. And I really liked her. Her heart came through. Her personality came through. She's likable. She's down to earth. She's funny. And when I say funny, I mean like did you have any laugh out loud moments in the book?
Well, most of the time I listen to the Audible, I'll be honest, I was walking on a treadmill. So,
so it's hard to laugh when
it's hard to laugh when you're like sweating and you can't breathe. But yes, I found myself smiling a lot.
I cannot tell you how many times, and it's hard. We've had this conversation before, but it is hard for anything to make me literally laugh out loud.
Yes, we're both humor snobs. There's no doubt.
Yes, exactly. And so many times through the book, I found myself just, oh my gosh.
Yes.
It is she is hilarious.
I honestly do remember like so many times just like even though I wasn't laughing because I was sweating, but I was smiling. I would just catch myself giggle. Well, I guess I did kind of giggle a few times, and I was like, "Dang, that was funny,"
Okay. Well, and it was fun to hear about the behind the scenes stories of Gilmore Girls, and it was just kind of fun to hear about some of the actors and actresses. I thought. So, did you have any favorite parts of the book? Because I know I did.
Well, the whole book was just fun.
Yes.
Okay, so this is one of those books, like if you're just in your car going somewhere and you just want a little pick-me-up or this is the book for you.
Yeah, there was never a boring chapter. There never was a time where you're like, okay, just get on with it.
Everything was interesting. Everything was funny or everything. But there was one chapter that she talked about the day and age we live in and kids and their gadgets and electronics.
Yes.
Okay, that was so very well put, and I literally thought when I finished this book, I thought I want my kids to listen to that chapter. And she was talking about how our kids are not having a normal childhood and they're losing so much of their childhood because they've got their phones or their faces stuck in their phones and they're on social media. And that's one of my biggest beefs in life is technology and what it's doing to our children, and that whole spiel that she had about technology and just the negatives of it. I just thought it was very well written.
Well, and that's what I wrote down here. One of my favorite chapters, it was called Look Up. In other words, look up.
Yeah, that's the chapter I'm talking about.
Yes, look up from your phone, look up from the technology, have conversations, make eye contact. You're missing out on stuff that's right before our eyes. And what I love about it is she created this character called Old Lady Jackson. So she said, it's not me who's old-fashioned and boring and wanting you to get off your phone. It's Old Lady Jackson.
Oh, that was funny.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
So anytime she would give like the younger people on sets advice, well, I'm fine with you you having 50 tattoos, but old Lady Jackson thinks that you might regret it one day.
Yes,
and
that was funny.
When you said you wanted your kids to listen to it, my first thought was I wish every single student I had could listen to this chapter.
Well, maybe you should make that a reading requirement in your class.
I know, but I'm like, teach Spanish. I'm like, how can I?
You got to think outside the box.
Can I justify this? I got to think outside the box, but I'm probably about even giving bonus points for them listening to it because
maybe
it is so relevant.
Find this book in Spanish,
Ooh.
and then find that chapter, and then and have them listen to it in Spanish.
That's a great idea. So yeah, she just talks about how she noticed we get this zombie look, this detached look on our faces. She's caught herself doing that when we're just zoned out. And I love how she says we don't get that look on our face when we're reading. We don't get that look on our face when we're deep in thought. It's kind of like when we're just kind of that zombie-fied look when we're on technology, when we're on our phone or iPad or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good chapter.
And I love the fact that she talks about, a guy, she says, if a guy calls you up at 11 o'clock on a Friday night and says, hey, let's go do something, I don't think you should just take off with them. She's talking about giving advice to young girls. Yeah, she sounded
like she was pretty grounded.
Yeah, she doesn't. She is not Holly weird. That's what I love about her. She is normal. Yes. When she talks about dieting and beauty and just growing old, that was one of the parts I laughed at when she was talking about the plastic surgery. And, hey, if you want to reattach your ears to your face, go right ahead or whatever. If you have to pull those ears off and reattach them, that's your business, And just everything she said. But it was everything she said in that chapter was so relevant, and it didn't sound preachy, and she just knew how to write it down, and I just love that chapter is in the book.
You make a good point. Here she is. She's obviously very famous now, and she's she's been very successful in Hollywood, but she's very grounded, and she has a very healthy outlook on life.
Yes.
So that was so refreshing.
Like
she's not like a diva.
Yes, not at all. She just seems like someone you could go out to lunch with and have like a really good conversation. And
I couldn't keep up with her wit.
But she's way too smart for me.
Yes,
but we can have a good conversation, and you're not going to worry that she's so far out there that she's going to say something that make you cringe. Like she's just one of us.
Yes.
And I love that. The only difference is she's an actress.
Yep.
And I love when she talked about that. I know this is silly, but about the paper towels, and she loves the ones that you can tear in half. They're perforated in half because she hates wasting them. I'm like, that's a woman after my own heart right there. I'm like, I'm the same way. But anyway, so this is a pretty short podcast, but I highly recommend this book. I highly recommend people get the audiobook and listen to it. The only negative thing I read online when I was reading through some of the reviews and stuff is one of the ladies said she loved the book and she had the audiobook, and she said, but a lot of times in the book, Lauren refers to pictures.
Yes.
And she couldn't get her PDF file to open. Well, I didn't even know. I'll have to go back and look at Audible. I didn't even know there was a PDF file available to look at the pictures.
Okay, that's how stupid I am. When she kept saying refer to picture one or picture whatever she would say, I just thought she meant you had to have the book. I should have known. Well,
supposedly
you to have the audio
supposedly
book
there's a file that comes with it.
That makes so much more sense.
Well, what she did, she said, even after calling tech support and all this kind of stuff, she said they never could get to open. She just went and bought the book.
Oh.
And so her suggestion was go ahead and get the book and listen to it, because you got to hear Lauren read it. That's the best part. But she said refer to the pictures in the book.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Cut you off, but I will say this: when she kept saying refer to this picture, I seriously was wishing I could see those pictures.
Me too. I wanted to see, she's talking about her hair and all the different pictures. So anyway, okay, how many Gilmore Girls? I know it's called Talking as Fast as I Can, but I couldn't think of a star rating for it.
Oh.
So I guess we're just going to go back to Gilmore Girls, to what she's best known for, her role in Gilmore Girls. How many Gilmore Girls do you give this book?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to give it a 4.5. Maybe 5. I don't know. I haven't really given this thought before now. So it was just so good, and it was very succinct, I guess you could say. It was just it's kind of a short.
Yeah, it's just a collection of essays. So it's not like it's this big, long story that has to unfold. You're waiting for the end to get there.
I can't think of anything negative to say about it. So it's just a really good book.
I gave it 5 Gilmore Girls. So I absolutely love the book.
I know you already touched on this, but I just want to say just one more thing. you know, we were, like you said earlier, you really need to enjoy the book and appreciate it. You need to have watched it. But like for me personally, I've watched all the seasons except for the last two. And so even not having watched those last two, she mentioned several things that I didn't know what she's talking about because I haven't finished the series.
Well, I've only watched the first three. I don't know how many seasons there are, but I guess I've only watched the first three, maybe.
I want to say there's 8, around that many. I think I'm on like 5 or 6.
And have you seen A Year in the Life?
No.
Now, that's what's cool about the series is I think they were on air for like 8 years, maybe.
It was a long time.
Or maybe 10. It was 10. A long time.
Yeah.
And then they got canceled, and they didn't even know it.
It might have been 10 years later. They came back and
maybe it was 10 years later. But anyway, they come back, and they got to do what many shows don't have the chance to do, is they got to come back, and they did what's called A Year in the Life to kind of show where the characters are now and what's happening and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I watched it a while back, and it is good, and I was trying to rewatch it because I've forgotten a lot of it.
Yeah.
So.
So my point is if possible, I would recommend before you read this book to have watched the whole series, including The Life in the Year. Is that the name of it?
A Year in the Life.
A Year in the Life.
Yeah.
Because she does make references to many things that span the time from the beginning to the end, to the most recent
I don't think you're going to be lost if you're not at least familiar.
Yeah, because there's just times she would say something about this actor or something, and I was thinking, I don't know who she's talking about.
Right,
it just makes it more meaningful if you've watched all the shows.
I agree. So, okay, well, we hope that you get a chance to either watch Gilmore Girls and then listen to this audiobook. And as always, you can let us know what you think. Leave a recording on our SpeakPipe page. And we will see you next time on Twin Talk.